Welcome back. So in this lecture, we're gonna go ahead and finish up the ad. Let's dive in. So if you've been following along the previous lectures with me, you should be at the ad design, also known as the ad creative level at this point, all right? And we are gonna start from the very top. So first of all, you're gonna notice in the template that it doesn't say anything about the ad name itself. Since we set the daily budget already, the next thing is going to be the format. So we're going to talk a little bit more about the name later on because we're going to have multiple ad designs created automatically for us. And then later on, we can change the name of those to reflect what the different things on each of those ad designs are. But that is not important because that will be self-evident. We're going to talk more about that later. For now, we can just leave this name as it is. Identity should automatically be set to your page. There's nothing we need to touch. If it's not, make sure that it is at your page. But normally you don't need to touch this at all. Scrolling down format, it's not in the template. The next thing that is in the template is, it says here format image or video. And there is an option for that says single image or video. So we're going to make sure that this one is selected, usually by default, but just make sure that it is. So we're going to choose that one. We're going to scroll down. It says nothing about adding an instant experience or anything. The next thing we are going to do is to choose our media, right? So we always have to use some sort of media, and we already selected a single image or video. So that means that we also need to add a single image or video. Now, if you want to use images or if you want to use videos, that is going to be completely up to you. Most of the time, we tend to use images, but sometimes videos work better. Now, if you decide to go with a video, for example, instead, because you think that might be a bigger success rate, you could create your own video and then just upload it here. But what you could also do is that you could use your images, click on create video, add those images in here, and then there's going to be different templates where Facebook is going to be creating videos for you, right? So if you want to use images or videos, completely up to you. But in this case, we are going to use images and they tend to work really well. So I'm going to go ahead and click on add media and then click on add image. Now there are different levels, right? We are at the account images and this is a newly created account. So of course there's going to be very little here, but you can also go to your page images and you can go to stock photos. Stock photos are great normally, but since we are actually selling a product, remember this product for us, we are going to want to use the pictures of this product since we want to display what it is that we're selling. So we have two options here. Number one, we could fetch the images where we have saved them originally. This is the best way because you have uploaded these images yourself, right? Well, that means that you've saved them down somewhere. So fetch those images because they are going to be of the highest quality, and then we're just going to upload it. And then when it comes to formatting, Facebook is going to take care of that for you, so we don't need to worry about that at all. So we're just going to make sure that we have the best images that we can have. Now, if the images for some reason for you would be gone, you can't find them, what you can do is that you can right click on and then click on save image as and save them down that way, all right? But in this case, I already have the images saved, so I'm going to click on upload. And then boho leaves earrings, and then I'm just going to upload all of the pictures that I have on these images, right? Looking down, there's quite a lot of pictures in here. So I'm just going to upload all of them here. Now, the next thing that we can do, as you can see, all of these 6 are now selected. The next thing that we can do is add all of these images in, right? So if I go ahead and I click on continue, we are going to add in all 6 images. So now, as you can see, we have uploaded all 6 images. And as a consequence of that, we now have 6 different ad designs. So that means that we're going to have ad number 1 with this image, and ad number 2 with another, ad number 3 with another, and another, until we have all 6 of these that we actually decided to upload, right? So the interesting part with that is because we already set the budget in the ad set level, that means that all of these different ads are going to be sharing that budget. So that means that this is not going to increase your budget in any way. It's just going to try out showing you sometimes this image, sometimes ad number 2, ad 3, 4, 5, 6, and see which one that performs the best. And all they are is that they are different variations of the same products, just that they have different colors, as you can see, the same design, but just they look slightly different, right? So that's going to be the only difference. And then, of course, we have a collection, which might work really well or it might not. But at any rate, they are going to end up on this landing page where they can choose the color themselves. So it doesn't matter which one we display. They're going to have access to all of them. So it's a great way to do it and a great thing to do. So if you have multiple colors or different variations or different angles of the product you're trying to sell, just upload more images than one. There's no reason not to. And then you can see later on which one is performing the best, right? So we do not create multiple ad sets for the same targeting. We only allow it to be multiple designs because they're going to work for the same audience. All right. So if there's something that we don't like about this, as you can see, this is the way that it looks right now, and I'm super happy about that. But should there be something that we don't like about this, we can click on edit image and we can click on crop image, and then we could change it up just like this. All right. So for example, say that we thought that it didn't cover enough, we could, for example, go horizontal. We could take only the upper part, only the lower part, but for now the original I think looks great. Should you have any issues accessing those images, what you could also do, if I click on clear images, is that we can scroll down, we can go to the website URL, and then I can grab this URL because we are going to use this URL in the website URL. I could paste it in, and what you're going to notice happens is that it's going to fetch the image of the front page of this URL. So now, without having added any image whatsoever, we are going to get a display of an ad that shows the image of that first page of the landing page URL. So now it looks like this. It's not too beautiful, right? So that is why it's better to add in your own images. But should you have any issues with that or not access to your images, just know that you can do that, right? So I'm just going to remove this and not go ahead of the template. Just wanted to show you that ability. And I'm going to re-add the images. I'm going to select 6 of them because you can only select 6. I'm going to hit continue, and then we're going to be right back where we started. So scrolling down and moving on, we can see the preview of what the ad is going to look like. We have now a new preview picture, but that is because it's displaying ad 1. We have different ones in ad 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, right? So scrolling down, next up is text and links, and we're going to check the template again. And as we can see, we set the format, we uploaded the images and everything. Now it says write a selling text about your product. So there's a hierarchy of what the customer is going to see. The first thing that they're going to see is going to be the image itself, right? That's the very first thing that's going to grab their attention. So it's very important that you use great images. Now, the second thing that they are going to see is going to be the primary text. So the primary text makes this look like an organic post. So let's say that I would write something like connect to your boho roots with these beautiful earthly earrings, something like that. And now you're going to notice that that text pops up in the very top here, kind of like an organic post on the Facebook feed. So the first thing people are going to see is going to be the image, and the next thing is usually that they read the text, and then they usually look at the headline and then the description that is going to be underneath there. So what I strongly recommend that you do when you're writing your primary text is use emojis, because that makes the text pop a little bit more and it makes your ad stand out. So we're going to do that. We're going to go in here and I'm going to choose an emoji that I think is going to be suitable for these boho earrings. And in this case, I think flowers can be a pretty good idea, right? Because boho, flower child, it is a bohemian kind of hippie thing. So I'm going to scroll down until I find something that looks like a flower, or that is a flower. So I think this one looks really good, so I'm gonna use this one. So I'm gonna make a space there, put that one in. I'm also gonna select it. I'm going to copy it, and then I'm just gonna hit Command V, Control V if you're on a PC, and add it in like that. So as you can see, just by adding these in, we are making the primary text pop a little bit more. And we also have done it quite salesy. Write a selling text about your product. Connect to your boho roots with these beautiful earthly earrings. You want to make sure you're not doing any typos here, right? So that's going to be it for the primary text. Then next up, we're going to do the headline. And as it says here, we want it to be attention grabbing, all right? Now, even though the primary text needs to be attention grabbing and the picture and everything, we don't have that many words for a headline. So we have two options here. Either we can write it exactly as it is. We could write boho earrings, for example, which is going to be a pure product description, or we could write something like, for example, bohemian style earrings, something like that. Or we could just write connect to your bohemian style, something that's going to grab their attention, right? Something that's going to make them go, oh, okay, something to connect to the product itself. Sometimes it doesn't even describe the product because the picture is so obvious already. But in this case, I think it's a good idea to do that, and you're gonna get a feeling for this yourself. So either something that describes the product really well, like I could write connect to your inner boho, could be a headline, or I could just write boho earrings or bohemian style earring. Gonna be completely up to you. All of them works. All of them are attention grabbing and hits the targeted audience. So for the description itself, we're gonna move to the right. It says product benefits. All right, so we wanna write some sort of benefit for the product, but also know that now we're doing a mobile Facebook feed. So that means that we have very little space in here to actually write something. So for example, a benefit could be that you wanna be in style. So we could write boho is always in style, ... And then we're gonna see how much of this is actually going to display. So you can see boho is always in style. If I would write anything additional, for example, stay connected to, for example, this is just not going to fit. It's just gonna stay C ... So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just cut this off like this, and I'm gonna write boho is always in style. This is still gonna be a benefit, right? Because a lot of people who are connecting to a certain fashion, they're looking to be in style and express themselves. I mean, we're all doing that with our clothes and our bodies and our ways of being. So if you are looking to be stylish, well, boho is always in style. What does that mean? Well, that means that if you use these earrings, you are gonna be in style. So just make sure that you get some sort of a benefit in here, a benefit that they're gonna get from the product, and try to use as few words as possible and make sure that it actually fits in here, right? So next up, destination. You're gonna notice it's not in the template because we don't have to touch it. Website URL, this one we already touched on before. We are gonna go ahead and grab this link, and then we're gonna add it in. And you're gonna notice here it says website URL, add the product URL, right? This is the product, and because this is the product, then this is the URL to the product. Very simple, very straightforward. So there we have it. Then we are not going to play around with URL parameters. That is for tracking, like in Google Analytics. We don't need any of that. Facebook is doing the tracking for us. The display link already says rnjdeals.com. We don't need to touch that. We don't need to do anything customized here, okay? The next thing that it says in here is going to be the call to action button. It says shop now. So I'm going to go down. It says learn more right now. I'm going to add it to shop now. So let's see. There we go, shop now. So we have a nice change. And there we are. And if we scroll to the right now, we can see that we have completed this entire ad set. So everything is set up and completed. Now scrolling down, the Facebook pixel, since we installed it, should always be on. It should always be on by default. So again, there shouldn't be anything that we ever need to touch or worry about here. Now, before we end and move on, what we can do, now my head is in the way here in the lower right corner, but there are two options. We have review and we have confirm. What you can do is that you can click on review and then just have a look and make sure that everything actually it fits in and matches the actual template. In the beginning, this is a great thing to do. So for example, we can see ad placement, Facebook feeds. We can look at the targeting. We can click on more on the targeting. We can see, okay, does this all fit? Well, it seems to really fit. We have the schedule set, and that's correct. Okay, we have added all of the things here. So everything seems to fit. So now you might be wondering, why are we targeting both men and women when we're selling a female product, right? Or, well, mostly there's going to be women dominant in being interested in this product. Men are going to be as well, but they're probably going to be a minority for a product like this. Well, the idea is that it's probably not going to reach that many men, but those that it does reach is still going to be those who are interested in it, and also those who might want to buy it for their significant others, right? So if they have girlfriends, for example, or any form of partner who's interested in this, they might be interested in this product. So that is why we don't usually filter between men and women in this blueprint, because we find that targeting both is going to work and that it usually filters out itself. So once we're done and we're happy with this, we're just gonna go down and we are gonna hit confirm. So fantastic job, it was just published, and now we can see we have the boho leaves earrings in here. I just called it boho leaves. We could call it boho earrings also if we want to have a more solid name, but boho leaves, that will be fine. And then we can move on to the ad sets and see that, okay, this is our broad interest ad set. Remember, in the next lecture, we're gonna create 2 more. And then checking out the ads, which we can also do simply by clicking on this one, we're going to see all of the ads that we produced here. Now, remember, these are all sharing the same budget, so it doesn't mean that it's 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5. No, they're all sharing a $5 budget, all right? So what we can do here is that we can click on this one that says edit name, and we could just name them after the corresponding color. So rather than this one being called the default name conversions image 1, we could call this all earrings, for example. Just hit here, change the name, and call them all earrings. And that way we're going to have a different name, and they might be easier to locate later on when we are going to be looking at statistics. Similarly, if we find that we're not happy with this name, boho leaves, we might want to call them boho leaves earrings, and then hit publish. So they're very easy to edit afterwards. All you need to do is hover your mouse over and hit this edit name button, and then you can change the names. But what we're going to go ahead and do in the next lecture is that we are going to create 2 more ad sets. It's very quick, it's very effective, and I'm going to show you some additional ways to do the targeting for the detailed targeting. All right, see you in the next lecture.